All right, let's get started. I am Jeff Steinman. Tonight we're going to talk about 3 things that you must know in order to be certain that you create products and services that will sell. Now, when you're in a full-time job and you want to quit working, the biggest thing that you think about is, well, what if it doesn't work? What if nobody buys what I have to offer? What do I do then? Well, tonight we're going to talk about a way that you can be sure that you create products that will sell. This isn't some mystic magic voodoo. This is actually really simple, straightforward stuff, but stuff that really sets apart the people who are successful in business from the people who flounder in business. And again, there's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. That's going to happen. I promise you, you're going to make mistakes on this journey. I've made plenty of them. All of the guests that I talk to on the How to Quit Working show all make mistakes. And I love asking that question because whenever I ask it, I always ask, what's the biggest mistake you've made on your journey? And they always laugh because there's so many they don't even know where to start. But they don't regret a single one because they know that their mistakes are what moved them forward. And many of them actually say that their mistake was creating a product before they knew what their market wanted. So they went out and created something before they even knew if anybody out there wanted that thing. Right? And we're going to talk about how to get around that and how to do it in a very different way so that you can be sure that what you create is something that people want to buy. So sit back, enjoy this. This is going to be a lot of fun. And you're going to see how to create products that actually sell. So this is amazing, amazing stuff. So pay attention. This is great stuff. Now, when you're starting a business, it sometimes kind of feels like this, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like you're up in a plane and you don't want to stay in the plane because you don't like it there? It's not giving you what you want out of life. But the alternative is to jump. Jump out of that plane. And it's so scary to think about giving up the income and the money that you're making from your full-time job. And that makes it so hard to make that leap. And because you need the money. You need money to survive. Your kids need to eat, and they probably want to eat every single day. Every day they have to eat. And you need some security. You need to understand that the next meal is going to be there. And again, always asking, what if it doesn't work? And this is a scary place to be. And it's probably the main reason that most aspiring entrepreneurs don't take the leap to give up their full-time job and go out and start a business of their own, doing what they want and building the lifestyle that they want. So let's talk about another way to do it. You don't have to take a big risk. This is a picture here of Richard Branson. He is probably the ultimate risk taker. That's what he's known for. That's what he's famous for. Entrepreneurs like Richard Branson get a lot of press. They're in the news. They get the TV specials made about them because they've taken huge risks, and it's paid off for them. Now, they've also made a lot of mistakes, and they've also had a lot of failures, but they've had successes as well. And I know Richard Branson would be the first to say that he's had considerably more failures than he's had successes. But stories like his, when you go around the world in a hot air balloon or create a company that totally revolutionizes the airline industry, or something like Virgin Records, as successful as it was, or creating a brand like the Virgin brand that he's done so many amazing things with. And when you look at his story, you look at the fact that every single time that he made a move in his businesses, it was a huge risk. Every single time he put everything on the line. Now, he has a lot more to put on the line than you and I do, but putting on the line everything you have is putting on the line everything you have. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to put everything on the line all the time. So this is the other way that you can do it. So what if you knew before you ever left your job that there were people out there who actually wanted what you had to offer? Knew for a fact, not thought. I'm not talking about, I talked to my friend and she thought it was a good idea. My brother thought it was a great idea. My mom thought it was a great idea. I think it's a great idea. Not that. I mean actual people with money in their wallet who want what you have to offer. All right, and then what if, in addition to that, before you ever left your job, you knew how much they would be willing to pay? How much they would be willing to pay for what you have to offer. And then what if you had a group of people, not a survey, a group of specific people, very specific people, and you know them, you have their name, you have their phone number, you have their address, you know how to get a hold of these people, and they are just dying to get what you have to offer. So you haven't left your job, but you've got a group of people that you know want what you have to offer. You know how much they would pay for it, and you have all of their contact information, and you know they are just dying to get what you have to offer. How would that change things? Would that make you a little more confident? Would you feel better about quitting your job if you had that? Would you worry less if you had that? Would you sleep better? Would you walk into your job every single day and know that there's an end in sight? Walk into that office every single day, and some people really hate their job. Some people are just mildly dissatisfied. Most folks are somewhere in the middle. But when you walk into that office every day, know that you don't have to do that forever. And you bet that would change things. So let's talk about how to do that. Let's talk about an approach that doesn't involve that scary jumping out of an airplane thing that we talked about before. And what you have to do in order to do that is you have to think about it differently. You have to think in a different way about business and entrepreneurship and about how you're going to make your transition. So stop thinking about it like you're jumping out of a plane. Stop thinking about it like it's a big cliff, like it's a big, huge transition. Now, certainly that day that you give your notice and then that first Monday that you don't go into the office, certainly that's a huge milestone, and that is a big deal. But it's really only a milestone on a very long journey, because always think of it as a journey. Everything in life is a journey, and this is by far no exception to that rule. So stop thinking about it as having to make a leap, and think about it as a journey. Now, what we're going to talk about is the steps you take on that journey while you're still working your full-time job. Think about it like this. All you're doing here is just figuring out what the world wants from you and then providing that to them, obviously in exchange for money. Right? So you're just figuring out, what is it that I have? What is it that I know, do, don't do, learned, experienced? What is it the world wants from me? And notice I say wants. It's very important that we say wants, not needs. You can only sell someone what they want. You cannot sell anyone what they need. Even if you know better what they need than they know what they need, it still doesn't matter. You've got to sell them what they want. So always think in terms of what people want, not in terms of what they need. Now, that comes with all the normal disclaimers of, I know that you're going to do something ethical with this information that I'm giving you. I know that you're not going to give somebody something that they want that's not good for them, or when you know that there's something different or something that would serve them better. I I make that small disclaimer, but generally speaking, the people that are attracted to how to quit working and the things I talk about are good, ethical people, so I don't have to worry too much about that. But in order to build up that group of people that you know exactly what they want, how much they want to pay for it, and they're standing there right in front of you waiting for it, there's 3 things you got to know. And that is the title of this webinar, the 3 things you must know to be certain that your products will sell. Are you ready? Because we're going to jump right into it. All right, I hope you're taking notes because this is really good stuff. Number 1, it is not about the idea. A lot of folks think that starting a business is all about having that brilliant idea, having that awesome, amazing idea that is going to be the next, Snuggie or the next pet rock or chia pet or whatever. It's not about the idea, so start thinking about it this way. I need some people to tell me what they want from me. So what you need is not an idea. What you need is some people to tell you what they want from you. And you can see where that starts to get us into that situation that we talked about, where you have a group of people that you know what they want, you know how much they'll pay for it, and you've got them right in front of you. And stop thinking, I need a brilliant idea. You don't need a brilliant idea. Your following will tell you what the brilliant idea is. They'll have it for you. All right, so start thinking, I need some people to tell me what they want. And stop thinking you need a brilliant idea. So that's number 1. Number 2, start a conversation first. The first way that you start a business is with a conversation. You don't start it by creating an LLC. You don't start it by putting up a website. You don't start it by renting office space. You don't start it by renting a storefront in the mall. You certainly don't start it by creating products. You start it with a conversation. You start it with a conversation with people, finding out what in the heck they want. So start thinking, I need to start talking to some people to find out what they want. And stop thinking, I have a great idea and I think people will buy it. Or I have a great idea and my brother-in-law and my sister and my best friend and my mom all think it's a great idea. Because that doesn't matter. What matters is the people who are going to ultimately pull the money out of their wallet and either give it to you or not give it to you. And then also stop thinking I don't have an idea. And a couple of things that kind of plagues entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, is I think they tend to fall into one of 2 categories. And either they think they have a great idea, and no idea that is unexecuted is great. In other words, it's about the execution of the idea, not the idea. So entrepreneurs either think they have a great idea or they're frustrated because they don't have any ideas. And it's just all about, how creative you are and what kind of things you've been exposed to. But entrepreneurs tend to fall into one of those 2 categories, and the reality of it is it doesn't matter which one you're in, because if you think you have a great idea, you need to toss it out the window and then go find people who will tell you what they want. And if you don't have any ideas, well, that's no problem. You just still do the same thing, which is go find people who will tell you what you want. And we're going to talk more about how to do that. But like I said, start thinking about, I need to talk to people to find out what they want. And there's so many easy ways to do that these days. And again, we're going to talk more about how to go about doing that. But think in terms of creating that conversation. Think in terms of, how can I start having that conversation? How can I start getting up in front of people? It doesn't have to be in a formal setting like this lady in this picture is doing here. Excuse me. It can be in any kind of a setting. It can be over social media. It can be over coffee. It can be in local networking groups or trade associations, if you have those associated with something that you're interested in. Have that conversation. Doesn't need to be hard. Doesn't need to be complicated at all. And speaking of not being hard, let's go to number 3, which is it's not hard. Right? We tend to have this huge notion that entrepreneurship and starting a business is so hard. And it's really not. Because all that you're doing is just figuring out what value you have to offer the world and then deliver that in exchange for money. That's all it is. That's all entrepreneurship is. You know, human beings have been exchanging value as long as we have recorded history of human beings. Right? If I have some beans and you have a hammer, which is maybe just a rock that's carved in a certain way, and you need some beans and I need a hammer, we exchange those things of value, right? Those weren't entrepreneurs. They didn't call themselves entrepreneurs. They were just people, just exchanging value. And that's all that we're doing here. Now, in these days, we have standardized value. We don't really barter much in our society anymore. It certainly happens, and you can. That's a great way to get things off the ground when you're bootstrapping a business. But in general, we don't barter for things. We use this thing that we call money, right? And money is just a representation of value. So money just represents something that people want. It is not evil. It's not good. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's just a representation of value. And that's the way you have to think about money, because that's one of the things that makes people think that entrepreneurship is really hard. And that's that they don't realize that money is just a representation of value. It's not some evil, dirty thing. It's not bad. It's not good. It's not good nor bad. It's just a thing, right? So, but what we have societally done for a number of reasons, I won't get onto my soapbox about why and how we got to this point, but we have a lot of really negative associations with money, and we have a lot of negative associations with asking people for money. But if you really just break it down and think about it, all it is that caveman exchanging those beads for somebody making a fire for him, right? Come on, I don't know how to make a fire. Come over here and rub these 2 sticks together and make a fire for me. I'll give you these beads, right? And then you get the beads you want, I get the fire I want, and we're both happy. And that's all we're doing here. Only it's just different now in that we use money to represent it. We've standardized value in terms of money or currency. And now we have that thing that's in the picture, and we've made it into this big, scary, negative thing. And it's not scary or negative at all. It's just a representation of value. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not anything. So, again, we tend to think that entrepreneurship and business is so hard. Well, it's really not. It's just exchanging money. It's just exchanging value, right? And we use money to represent that value. So start thinking. All you got to do is figure out what you offer to the world and then deliver that in exchange for money. And stop thinking that business, marketing, and entrepreneurship is hard. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot that you need to know. But when you relax and when you start to think about entrepreneurship in terms of just exchanging value, just people exchanging things that they need with each other for money, you relax, and it all just gets so much simpler. And then when it comes to those things that you do need to know about business, for example, in business you need to have the right legal structure. That's all very simple stuff, and it's all very learnable stuff. Marketing is very simple when you think about it in terms of, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm marketing, right? All I'm doing is talking about this stuff, and you want to hear about it, so you're listening. I enjoy talking about this stuff. you're listening, so either you're my mom or you want to hear it, right? We're just exchanging value here. So it's not hard. It's not hard. And that's it. Those are the three things that you have to know. So number one, it's not about the idea. Number two, start a conversation first. Number three, it's not hard. So you want to start that conversation. And I think one of the questions that a lot of folks would ask is, well, how? How do I start that conversation? How do I get that conversation going? Because you want to have, like we have in this picture here, you want to have this stadium full of people looking at you saying, I want what you've got. I have a problem. I want that solution that you offer to me, or I want that gadget, or I want that service, or I want whatever it is that you have. You want this group of people looking at you saying, I want what you've got. And I use this stadium picture of this very large number of people, but it doesn't have to be that huge number of people. It can be a much smaller number of people. It could even be as few as 10 people. But you got to have that group of people who want what you've got to offer. So how do you start that conversation? And the first thing is you have to figure out what value you have to offer the world. And let me give you a couple ways to look at this. And my favorite way of thinking about this is ask yourself the question of, when people ask me for help, what is it about? Do they ask me for help with, do they ask you for help with their dating life? Do they ask you for help with gardening? Do they ask you for help finding a job? What in the world is it that people ask for your help with? So just think about what that is, right? So when people call you up and they ask for your help, they repeatedly ask you about some topic. And there's probably multiple, right? You probably have some friends that ask you about their wardrobe and for your advice on that. And you probably have some people that ask you for help decorating their house. And you probably have other people that ask you for parenting tips. Who knows? But think about, what is it that you offer to the world? Do people ask you to help fix their computer or whatever it is? Think about what that is. And then also put the lens of that on of what of those things do I really enjoy talking about? Because now, as I did just say, starting a business is easy. But I didn't say it's not a lot of work. It's just not hard work. So if you're going to do something that is that much work, then it better be something that you enjoy, right? It better not be something that you don't like to think about or talk about or do. It better be something that you really, really enjoy. So figure out what the value is that you have to offer the world, and what do you really enjoy talking about. Find people who want that. Okay, so let's pick an example. It's always fun to think of different examples. So let's say that the value that you offer to the world is parenting advice, right? You are an awesome parent. Your kids are very well behaved, and everybody always wants to know, why are your kids so well behaved? Why did they get such good grades in school? Why are they so polite? And why are they so successful in everything that they do? Everybody wants to know that from you. All right, so now you set out to find people who want that. Okay? Now, there's a very easy criteria that we start that with. Well, who do you think wants information about raising better children? Well, probably parents, right? I'm not going to be that interested because I don't have any kids. So I'm not going to be part of your customer base. But people who do have kids will be. So then we think, okay, where can we find some parents? Well, let's see. There maybe are some parenting groups in your local community. Maybe some parenting clubs. Maybe there are some organizations that are made up of parents, like the PTA. I know when I was little, there was a PTA, the Parent Teachers Association. I don't even know if that still exists. But organizations like that. And then if you go online, you will find a lot of groups and online chat rooms and online communities of people who are parents and are looking for information about how to raise better children. So those are just a couple of examples. And I know in your local community, if you open your ears and eyes to it, you will find a lot of places where parents congregate. So I use parenting as one example. Maybe you are somebody who fixes computers. Well, then you would have to think about, where do people who want their computer fixed hang out? Or maybe where are people who want to learn more about how to fix computers hang out? Right? So then you go through that same filtering process. What kind of local organizations are there? Is there maybe a chamber of commerce, which would have a bunch of business owners who might have needs to have their computers fixed or configured or set up? Are there online groups? Well, certainly there are. There's probably other local organizations maybe that are dedicated to all matters involving computers. So again, it doesn't matter what the topic is. You can go through that same sort of thought process to find where those people are. And 1 second while I take a drink of water. All right, so once you find them, then you start talking to them and find out, what is it that they want? What problems are they having? What are they suffering with? All right, so when you go to these parenting groups online or locally or wherever it may be, start asking them what their biggest struggles are. And you're actually going to hear them start talking about this probably before you even ask, but you should definitely ask. And what you're going to hear is people say, oh my gosh, I just cannot get my kids to go to bed at night. They want me to read them story after story, and then they keep getting up and they just won't stay in bed. Well, since you're the expert, since you're the one that people come to with questions about that, you're going to have some information for them, right? So start talking to them and find out those struggles and start trying to find out, how can you solve those problems. Now, you don't have to solve those problems for them right away. You don't have to come up with a product idea right away. Just start having that conversation and start understanding on a deeper level what it is that they struggle with and how you might be able to solve that. Now, we'll talk about creating products and stuff and how to get more information about that a little bit later. But the key thing right away is to start talking to them and finding out what they want. What are their problems? What do they really, really want? How much better would their life be if those kids would just lay down at 8:30 and go to sleep? Now, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing this and when they're having these conversations is that they undervalue their value. They undervalue their value. They undervalue what they know, and they undervalue the expertise that they offer, and they undervalue the transformation that they can actually offer to the people who want what they have. So the best way to not do that is to engage in these conversations and really, really try to help these people. Really give them those tips, like, well, we read 2 bedtime stories and we don't give them any sugar after 6 o'clock. I don't know, I'm just making that up. But whatever it is that helps you get the kids to bed, give them that value and follow up with them, right? Tell them about how you can solve their problem, help them solve the problem, and then follow up with them and find out how much better their life is now that they've got that in place and that's working. So biggest thing here is just don't undervalue what you know. Don't ever say things like, oh, well, that this isn't of any value because it's available online. You can get that. You can just Google it. Or this isn't that revolutionary. Well, that's one of the biggest things that holds folks back, is they undervalue what they have and what they really have to offer to the world. Because while some of that information may be available in other formats, not all of it probably is. And if there are people out there who are still struggling with it, which is what you're validating in these conversations, right? You're finding out that there are indeed people that struggle with this thing. There's people still struggling with it. There's still room in the market for you to step in and provide that, right? So don't undervalue what you have to offer. Now, we talked about a lot, but I hope you came away from that knowing that this doesn't have to be complicated. And all that you're really doing is figuring out what value you offer to the world and then offering that value in exchange for money. Now, there certainly are, it is a simple concept, but there's a lot of pieces and parts that you have to put in place to make it work and to make it work successful. And I've been helping clients with that for several years now, and been talking to folks on the How to Quit Working show who have done that successfully, and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And I've put that together in a program that I call the How to Quit Working Now program. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what is in the program. So when we talked about how what you're really trying to do here is to figure out what value you offer to the world and then offering that to the world in exchange for money. Well, the first thing that we do in this program is we work together and discover exactly what knowledge it is that you have, that you already have, that can be monetized and who wants that knowledge. So we look at all the different ways that you can engage with people to start that conversation, and then really opening that dialogue and building that list of the people that can't wait to buy what you have to offer. So the people that are out there saying, oh, I've got this problem, I need it, and I know that Sally is the person who has it. Sally is the person who has the solution to this problem that I have, this problem that plagues me every single day, and I need a solution to it. I want a solution to it, and I know that Sally has it. So you want to be Sally, right? And you want to be Sally, and you want to have a list of the people who need that thing that you offer. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the steps to create that dialogue and build that list. And then we're going to use that dialogue and that list to figure out exactly what that group of people wants, so that you know exactly and you can be certain that you will create something that will sell. So when you go through this program, we'll show you exactly how to create that dialogue in such a way that you get all the information that you need to create that product that you're going to be certain will sell. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create that product. So you're going to create that product that your customers can't wait to buy. It's going to be simple. We always keep these first products very simple. And nothing in the world moves your business forward more. Whether you're still working or not, nothing moves your business forward more than getting that first product or service out to the market and having people actually pay you for it. So then we're going to sell that product. So this is where we'll create those really cool online launch sequences, like you might have seen the How to Quit Working Now launch sequence. In fact, you probably did. If you're on this webinar, you probably have seen how that works. So you're going to get access to examples and scripts and templates and stuff that you can just fill in the blank and fill in your own information. You can have this up and running for yourself very, very simply and very, very easily. And that's how you sell, right? And then once that money starts rolling in, we'll talk about how do you structure this business so that the business supports your life, right? If you're working for somebody else, the way that it's working, unfortunately, is that you're the job is controlling how your life is. The job is controlling what time you get up, what time you're done working for the day. So it's not supporting your life is supporting it. So we flip that around so that your business supports your life, not your life supporting your business, because your life is the most important thing. Your business is just there to help you deliver that value to the world so you can get that money back so that you can get the things you need and the things that you want. So all of that stuff takes away all of the business and marketing questions that you have, right? Because the How to Quit Working system, it's the most advanced, streamlined, effective, and frankly proven way to create a business, and to create a business with what you know, and to do it in a way where you have that level of certainty that you're creating something that's going to work and that people are going to buy. So there's no more questions about how do I do this, how do I do that, I don't know about business, I don't know about marketing, because we walk you through all that. Everything in the How to Quit Working Now program is just fill in the blank. It's just a bunch of workbooks. In fact, in the program, I actually ship a workbook to your house that you can literally just fill right in, or you can do it online if you prefer that. But it's really a simple fill in the blank type of a system, and it's like I said, it is just about as streamlined, effective, and proven as it gets. So we take all of that away. There's no more, I don't know how to do this. There's no more, how do you do that? There's no more worrying about marketing. There's no more worried about business structure or any of that kind of stuff. But the thing that actually makes people successful in business is when they change the way they think and act. So what we do in this program is we put in place all of the tools, attitudes, and habits that are the most highly successful athletes, entrepreneurs, politicians, CEOs, world leaders, celebrities, all of the people out there who, for better or for worse, accomplish huge, amazing things, right? These are the same mindsets and attitudes, tools, and habits that Richard Branson possesses, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk, Bill Clinton. Not to get political, regardless of how you feel about politicians, they know how to get stuff done, right? So these are the tools, attitudes, and habits that make them successful. Now, we have known what these things are for hundreds of years. Humanity has understood these things very well. Unfortunately, we haven't, as a human race, done a good job of putting them in place and putting them into practice. And when you put these tools, attitudes, and habits into practice, your life changes drastically. And quitting your job then becomes only one small piece of what your life is about, because you do that, and then all these new things open up and unfold in your life. And really, when you've got these tools, attitudes, and habits in place, you can do anything you want. You can absolutely do anything you want, because these are the tools, attitudes, and habits that every single person who has ever accomplished anything, whether it's putting a man on the moon or ending wars or starting big companies or just raising great kids, everybody who's ever accomplished anything huge in this world has these tools, attitudes, and habits. So this is a module. I call it the Move the Earth module, and I include this in the How to Quit Working Now system as a bonus. It is worth the money alone. It's an amazing, amazing system and an amazing transformation to your life when you put these tools, attitudes, and habits in place. So the How to Quit Working Now program, I sell that normally for $497. Tonight it is only $247. You can also pay in 3 installments of $97. So that's $97 tonight, and then $97 every 30 days after that, 2 more times. So 3 total payments of $97. So for that, you get 6 online training modules, and you get MP3s, recordings of each one of those, and you get the full transformation of going from where you are now to having that first product up and running and for sale. So it's an amazing system. It's the most streamlined, effective, and proven and simple way to leave a job and start a business on your own. You can get signed up at howtoquitworking.com/webinar. Again, that's howtoquitworking.com/webinar. It's at the bottom of your screen. So again, all we're talking about, if you want to do the installment plan, it's $97 tonight, $97 30 days from now, and then again $97 60 days from now. And it's such a small amount of money when you think about the transformation that you're going to get out of this program. I have worked with clients and watched them go from a situation where they were just not even knowing where to start, right? And they're just like, oh, I want to do something different, and I've got some ideas, and I don't know if anybody's going to buy it. I don't know if they're right. I don't know if they're going to work. I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about marketing, and on and on and on. To being in a situation where they had a product up and running and have left their jobs successfully and now run successful companies. And it's amazing. And I just highly recommend that you go to howtoquitworking.com/webinar and sign up for this program. You also, I forgot to mention, with the program, in addition to the training modules, the workbook sent to your house, and this is all outlined on that howtoquitworking.com/webinar page. But you also get a full 30-minute session with me. So you'll talk to me one-on-one on the phone for 30 minutes. After you're about halfway through the program, we'll get that scheduled. You can ask any questions you want, and we'll go through the worksheets that you've created together, and I'll give you some feedback on it, and then you can adjust and move forward. And then you also get access to an online forum that I'm in. I check that every 48 hours. And so within 48 hours, I respond to anything that is posted out there. You also get to be a part of a community of your peers, so other people that are trying to do the same thing. So anyway, go to howtoquitworking.com/webinar. There will be a replay of this up there shortly, but go check that out. Get registered for this program. It's really amazing, and I look forward to seeing you in the program, in the online group, and I look forward to talking to you one-on-one on the phone, and I look forward to seeing what your new life looks like when you've left your job, you have your own business, and you're doing something that you love every single day. Again, howtoquitworking.com/webinar. Have a great rest of the evening, and I'll see you in the program.